Today we're going to start reading some of these 16th century books on geomancy and on magic. What I've decided to do is we are going to start working through Agrippa's fourth book of occult philosophy, or some would say pseudo-Agrippa's fourth book of occult philosophy. Now, this text includes two works on geomancy. So these are two 16th century books on geomancy, okay? So in these videos, sometimes we talk about geomancy, and we've been drawing different figures. So what we are about to do is we're about to start reading some of these 16th century works on geomancy. So we are learning directly from people that lived in the Renaissance, okay? So we're learning directly from Renaissance writers how to do a geomantic reading. So how is everyone doing today? And of course, we're going to continue our series. Now, so we're starting a new reading series, and this is Henry Cornelius Agrippa. Okay, and I actually started at 9 a.m. Central Time. I need to get the timing figured out. You know, I'm still starting this show, so I need to kind of figure out like how I'm going to do the timing and the schedule. We're still figuring out all of the kinks. Okay, on the weekend, I'm going to have more videos coming out in Spanish. So Henry Cornelius Agrippa, his fourth book of occult philosophy. Some believe that this was not actually written by Agrippa. This was published after Agrippa's death. Okay, this was published like 30 years after Agrippa's death. Now, some people believe that these works were by Agrippa, and some people say that they are not. It's often referred to as pseudo-Agrippa. Okay, now his student Johann Weir, who was an expert in demonology and magic. Johann Weir was a student of Agrippa, and he had made a statement that it does not look like it came from the pen of his master, of Agrippa. However, it could have been written by Agrippa. Stephen Skinner, who has published the fourth book of occult philosophy by Agrippa, that includes all 16 of the texts that were printed with Robert Turner. Stephen Skinner, he gives his opinion that this was probably actually written by Agrippa. So Stephen Skinner, in his introduction, suggests that these works may indeed be by Agrippa. By the way, this is a read-along. Okay, we're gonna explore all these old books on magic together. Okay, and we're going to comment on them. We're going to look at comments. We're going to do readings together. So this is kind of going to be more of an interactive type of thing than what I've had before. But right now, we're about to start working through the fourth book of occult philosophy by Agrippa. Now, this actually includes 6 different texts. Okay, 6 different texts. You're getting like a full taste of 16th century magic, okay, a full taste of Renaissance magic, because the first book is on geomancy by Agrippa. So it's interesting, we've been talking about geomancy. If you've been following along with my videos, you've been drawing your own geomantic figure up till this time. So the very first book we'll look at is a work on geomancy, supposedly by Agrippa. Okay, it's a 16th century work on geomancy by Agrippa. Now again, many people suggest that this is not actually Agrippa, that it's spurious, that it's pseudo-Agrippa. Whatever the case may be, this was published 30 years after his death. But some people say that it could be. Now, Agrippa did refer to him having a work on geomancy, so it may be. But whether it was actually written by Agrippa or whether it was inspired by Agrippa, either way, it is a 16th century book on geomancy. After that, it's actually 6 treatises. The second one, I think, is actually the fourth book. Okay? Now, the fourth book of occult philosophy actually goes through, it's actually a working manual. We will be going through a working manual of sorcery or magic from the 16th century. Okay, we're going to be going through a 16th century magic manual, which is the fourth book. It is made more practical. It's like a workbook that derives from the 3 books of occult philosophy. Now, I've thought about this for a while, actually quite a while. I've thought about, well, what if I did a series on the 3 books of occult philosophy of Agrippa and the 4th book? How should I do that? Should I work through all of the 3 books of occult philosophy, or should I work through the 4th book? And you know, over the years, I've actually thought I should probably start with the 4th book. Okay, because it's one work, it draws from all the other ones, and I think that reading the 3 books, like you more know what you're getting into after you've read the 4th book. Or you could do it the other way. You could read the 3 books of occult philosophy, which we do know for a fact that came from Agrippa, that was published before, and then after that you can read the 4th book. So however you want to do it. But we're about to get into that. We'll look into how to make talismans. Okay, according to a 16th century magician, okay, we'll be looking at a talismans, the consecration of magic circles. Agrippa goes into like the conjuration of spirits. After that, the Heptameron is one of the texts printed with this. There's also a book on spirits, on kind of the theory of spirits. Again, this will kind of get you into a mindset of the 16th century. It's a 16th century text. It's from the 1500s on the nature of spirits. So that's a useful text. If you want to understand what did a spirit mean to an occultist, a magician in the 16th century, what did a spirit mean? That text tells you. Okay, and then there's another book on geomancy that's included. That's again from the 16th century. This text on geomancy, which will be again, we're about to start going through the 16th century texts. Okay, that's what we're about to do. We're about to start working through these 16th century texts. Let the texts speak for themselves, okay? So instead of just drawing our own opinions or talking about the things, we're going to let the texts speak for themselves. We are going to sit, we're going to listen to what the masters had to tell us, okay, from the 16th century. Not because we want to slavishly follow everything they said or anything. No, absolutely not. Okay, we all have our own individual practice, but so that we can learn from the past, so that we can try to distill whatever wisdom that they may have for us. And then it goes into geomancy, and then also in the 1655. So this was all put together. This was put together in Latin in the 16th century. Okay, but then the arbitel was tacked on. Robert Turner, in his 1655 English translation, he translated all of this in 1655. 1655, Robert Turner. Robert Turner was a very important figure for translating magical and alchemical texts. He was an important figure. He lived in the 1600s. So 1655, Robert Turner. He published an English translation, which is what I'll be using. We still use his translations, by the way. We still use his translations. So Robert Turner. So Robert Turner in 1655, he published the 4th book of occult philosophy, having 6 texts, which includes the arbitel. The arbitel. So we'll be going through all 49 aphorisms of the arbitel as well. So, how is everyone doing this lovely morning? All right. So, and I'll give some links. Right now, if you're watching me live, there's no links. Right now, there's no links, okay? But once I finish the video, I'll add links to the description and all of that. And in the comments, I'll pin on YouTube. I'll pin the comment to the top of the I'll pin on YouTube. I'll pin it as a comment to links for those of you that want to get a copy of this book, so you can read along. If you plan to read along in this series, you can read along if you have a copy of the book. The 4th book of occult philosophy, very important. So pinned to the top, you know, there's links to this if you want to get a copy. Okay, they are paid links, by the way. I do get a commission, full disclosure, if you use my links. And then the fourth book of occult philosophy, I highly recommend this book. It has six texts from the 16th century, six texts from the 16th century. You're getting books on geomancy. You're getting books on like how to make magic ceremonies. Okay, you're getting like Agrippa's fourth book. You're getting all of the six books from the 16th centuries, from the 1500s. Okay, so it's really good. And there are different versions, of course. But here we are, sirs and madams. So, and this is the English translation by Robert Turner. He translates from the Latin. Okay, so we're still using it. He translated this from the Latin in 1655. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. Okay, occult literature with Taliesin McKnight. Okay. Okay, so Cornelius Agrippa, his fourth book of occult philosophy. It's reading time, sirs and madams. Okay, Henry Cornelius Agrippa, his fourth book of occult philosophy, of geomancy. Okay, it's six treatises from the 16th century of geomancy, the magical elements of Peter de Abano, astronomical geomancy, the nature of spirits, the arbitel of magic, translated into English by Robert Turner. Okay. And then this is translated into English from the Latin by Robert Turner, 1655, London. Preface, the preface to the unprejudiced reader. So this preface, I'm going to actually include this for historical stuff. This preface is by Robert Turner. Okay. So we're going to work through this text. This preface that I'm about to read is from Robert Turner, London, August 1654. So we're about to read from the pen of this guy in London in 1654. Okay, are y'all ready? This is from 1654. The preface to the unprejudiced reader. As the fall of man made himself and all other creatures subject to vanity, so by reason thereof the most noble and excellent arts wherewith the rational soul was endowed are by the rusty canker of time brought into corruption. For magic itself, which the ancients did so divinely contemplate, is scandalized with bearing the badge of all diabolical sorceries, which art, saith Mirandola, pauci inteligunt, multi reprehendunt, et sicut canes ignoto semper allatrant. Few understand, many reprehend, and as dogs bark at those they know not, so do many condemn and hate the things they understand not. Many men there are that abhor the very name and word Magus, because of Simon Magus, who being indeed not Magus but Goes, that is, familiar with evil spirits, usurped that title. But magic and witchcraft are far differing sciences, whereof Pliny, being ignorant, scoffed thereat. For Nero, saith Pliny, who had the most excellent magicians of the East sent him by Tiridates, king of Armenia, who held that kingdom by him, found the art, after long study and labor, altogether ridiculous. Now witchcraft and sorcery are works done merely by the devil, which with respect unto some covenant made with man, he acteth by men his instruments to accomplish his evil ends. Of these, the histories of all ages, people, and countries, as also the Holy Scriptures, afford us sundry examples. But magus is a Persian word, primitively, whereby is expressed such a one as an altogether conversant in things divine. And as Plato affirmeth, the art of magic is the art of worshipping God, And the Persians called their gods magos. Hence Apollonius saith that magus is either, and there's some Greek here, or Greek. That is, that magus is a name, so magus is like magician. He's talking about a magician. Magus is a name sometime of him that is a god by nature, and sometimes of him that is in the service of God, in which latter sense it is taken in Matthew 2, verses 1 and 2. When the wise men came to worship Jesus, and this is the first and highest kind, which is called divine magic. It's interesting here that Robert Turner is referring to the three wise. So here's the thing to understand. Okay, this is magic in history and context. Robert Turner, that wrote this, he lived in this was in 1654, okay? 1654, 1655. Robert Turner, he felt like he needed to defend magic from Christianity and from those that would call it evil or wicked. And he lived in the 1600s, and he was dealing with an audience that would call it evil or diabolical, okay? Just like people today may need to defend magic against skepticism, okay? Today we live in a scientific, like, rationalist society. So today, you know, we may have an apologia or apology in that sense. Well, Turner is doing this in 1655, or London, 1654, trying to defend it. He's saying, well, wait a minute now, the three wise men were magicians. The three wise men, you know, baby Jesus in a crib, you know, those guys, baby Jesus in a crib, the three wise men y'all talk about, you know, you church-going folk. That's what Robert Turner's doing. He's basically saying, wait a minute, the three wise men, you know, in this gospel that you proclaim, they were magicians. That's what Robert Turner's doing. So anyways, back to the text. Going back a little, actually, now that I said that. Okay, that is, that magus is a name, or magus is a name sometime of him that is God, a god by nature, and sometime of him that is in the service of God, in which latter sense it is taken in Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, when the wise men came to worship Jesus, and this is the first and highest kind, which is called divine magic. And these the Latins did entitle sapientes, or wise men, for the fear and worship of God is the beginning of knowledge. These wise men the Greeks called philosophers, and amongst the Egyptians they were termed priests. The Hebrews termed them Kabbalistos, prophets, scribes, Pharisees, and amongst the Babylonians they were differenced by the name of Chaldeans, and by the Persians they were called magicians. And one speaking of Sophocles, one of the ancient magicians, useth these words, Et verum Deum merita majestate prosequitur, et angelos ministros Dei, sed veri eius vincer ationi novit. I'm not going to do all this Latin today. Okay. Latin, 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 Latin. If y'all are listening. Latin, Latin, Latin. Moving along with the text, y'all. Okay. How are y'all doing today? Thank you for joining me today. All right. Yes, the three wise men. Gaspard, Balthazar, and Melchizedek. Yeah. Yep. And these, you know, for those of you that are interested, you know, a lot of people, they like to, you know, you make chalk. You mark your magic circles with chalk. You can get consecrated chalk from some churches, you know, that's associated from Epiphany, that's associated with three wise men. Anyways, back to this. You could use consecrated church chalk to mark your magic circles if you wanted. But anyways, Sosthenes afterwards ascribeth the due majesty to the true God, and acknowledgeth that his angels are ministers and messengers which attend the worship of the true God. He also hath delivered that there are devils, earthly and wandering, and enemies to mankind. Okay. Again, right now we're reading a 16th century text. Well, actually, this is the 17th century introduction by Robert Turner. So we're reading Robert Turner in 1654. Okay. So that the word magus of itself imports a contemplator of divine and heavenly sciences, but under the name of magic are all unlawful arts comprehended, as necromancy and witchcraft and such arts which are affected by the combination with the devil, and whereof he is a party. With the devil, y'all. That's what he's saying. These witches and necromancers are also called malefici or benefici, sorcerers or poisoners. So Robert Turner here, again, this is in 1654, okay? We're not reading a modern we're reading, what did this guy have to say in the 1600s, okay? We're reading a historical text from the 1600s. Right here, Robert Turner, he's differentiating between a wise man or woman, a magician, that's like a divine contemplator, okay, and an evil witch or poisoner or someone that curses crops or destroys. So he's and consorts with the devil, okay? He's differentiating a wise magician and a wicked witch, okay? These witches and yes, he does use witchcraft in kind of a negative sense, okay? But again, this is a historical writing from the 1600s, okay? In my videos, anything that I'm not at all saying anything negative against the word witchcraft, many people think of themselves as that. But Robert Turner in the 1600s, he's referring to witchcraft here as in a negative, and he's differentiating it from kind of the divine magic, okay? All right, back to the text. The 17th century, this is from 1654, and quote. Again, we're reading old books of magic, okay? No New Age books here, modern books. No, we're reading, this is from the 1600s. We're magic and history, y'all. So here we go, back to the text. End quote. These witches and necromancers are also called malefici or benefici, sorcerers or poisoners, of which name witches are rightly called, who without the art of magic do indeed use the help of the devil himself to do mischief, practicing to mix the powder of dead bodies with other things by the help of the devil prepared, and at other times to make pictures of wax, clay, or otherwise, as it were, sacramentaliter, to effect those things which the devil by other means bringeth to pass. Such were, and to this day partly, if not altogether, are the corruptions which have made odious the very name of magic, having chiefly sought, as the manner of all impostures is, to counterfeit the highest and most noble part of it. Okay, I want to stop here just for a moment to say that the thing is, devil worship probably did exist back then. Think of it this way. You're dealing with a purely Christian society. For the most part, an entirely Christian society. Okay, you think that they're like narrow-minded Christians and stuff today? Think how Christianized everything was 100 years ago. Okay, let's go back to early 1900s. Very Christian. Okay, probably most people listen to this video. Unless, you know, if you come from this part of the world, most people listen to this video, your grandparents are probably pretty Christian. Your grandparents and their parents and their parents, okay? Think back in the 1800s, how Christian everything was. Now go back go back to the 1600s, okay? Think how Christian it was in the 1500s. It just, any other idea, any other view of the world or reality was just inconceivable. So, of course, if there's so much talk about the devil bringing powers and stuff, of course, in a highly Christianized society, there would be people that would probably do something with the other side, okay? Now, the thing is, we have to have, like, documented evidence to, like, prove that. And we do have, like, witch trials and stuff, but that's a whole other issue to go into. But all I'm pointing out is, probably somebody over the centuries thought, I'm going to do some, a spell with Satan. Probably somebody came up with that. In fact, they write about it, all the time they're writing about it. Somebody was probably doing it back then. So yeah, it's probably a real thing too. But anyways, back to the text, y'all. But we have to have documented evidence of that, and that's a whole other thing. Whole other can of worms, okay? It's up to conjecture. In my opinion, there probably were some people, messing with that stuff. But anyways, back to this. A second kind of magic is astrology. That's interesting. So, Robert Turner in 1654, again, we're reading the 1654 text, a second kind of magic is astrology, which judgeth of the events of things to come, natural and human, by the motions and influences of the stars upon these lower elements, by them observed and understood. Philo Judaeus affirmeth, that by this part of magic or astrology, together with the motions of the stars and other heavenly bodies, Abraham found out the knowledge of the true God while he lived in Chaldea. Who knew, ini contemplatione creaturarum cognovit creatorem, saith Damascene, who knew the Creator by the contemplation of the creature. Josephus reporteth of Abraham that he instructed the Egyptians in arithmetic and astronomy, who before Abraham's coming unto them knew none of these sciences. Abraham sanctificate et sapientia omnium praestantissimus primum Chaldeos dende phonice. I'm sorry, y'all. My Latin is probably horrible. I wasn't really expecting all this Latin, but here we go. I'm going to try to get through this text, y'all. Dende phonices demum Egyptio sacerdotes astrologia divina doquerit. Abraham, the holiest and wisest of men, did first teach the Chaldeans, then the Phoenicians, lastly the Egyptian priests, astrology and divine knowledge. Without doubt, Hermes Trismegistus, that divine magician and philosopher, who, as some say, lived long before Noah, attained a much divine knowledge of the Creator through the study of magic and astrology, as his writings to this day extant among us testify. The third kind of magic containeth the whole philosophy of nature, which bringeth to light the inmost virtues, and extracteth them out of nature's hidden bosom to human use. Virtutes in centro centri latentes, virtues hidden in the center of the center, according to the chemists. Of this sort were Albertus Arnoldus de Villanova, Raymond, Bacon, and others, etc. The magic these men professed is thus defined. Magic is the connection of natural agents and patients, and answerable each to other, wrought by a wise man to the bringing forth of such effects as are wonderful to those that know not their causes. In all these Zoroaster was well learned, especially in the first and the highest, for in his oracles he confesseth God to be the first and the highest. He believeth of the Trinity, which he would not investigate by any natural knowledge. He speaketh of angels and of paradise, approveth the immortality of the soul, teaches truth, faith, hope, and love, discoursing of the abstinence and charity of the Magi. Of this Zoroaster, Eusebius in the Theology of the Phoenicians, using Zoroaster's own words, thus saith Zoroaster, word... Hold on a second. Okay. Alright. Thus saith Zoroaster, word for word. God the first, incorruptible, everlasting, unbegotten, without parts, most like himself, the guide of all good, expecting no reward, the best, the wisest, the father of right, having learned justice without teaching, perfect, wise by nature, the only inventor thereof. So that a magician is no other but divinorum cultor et interpres, a studious observer and expounder of divine things, and the art itself is none other than the absolute perfection of natural philosophy. Nevertheless, there is a mixture in all things of good with evil, of falsehood with truth, of corruption with purity. The good, the truth, the purity, and every kind may well be embraced. As in the ancient worshipping of God by sacrifice, there was no man knowing God among the elders that did forbear to worship the God of all power, or condemn that kind of worship, because the devil was so adored in the image of Baal, Dagon, Astaroth, Chemosh, Jupiter, Apollo, and the like. Neither did the abuse of astrology terrify Abraham, if we believe the most ancient and religious writers, from observing the motions and natures of the heavenly bodies. So here, Robert Turner in the 1600s, he's defending astrology. He's saying Abraham did it. Okay? So what is going on here in the text? Robert Turner in 1654 is dealing with a Christian audience. He's trying to defend magic. He's like, and here he's defending astrology. He said Abraham studied astrology. Abraham kind of important. Robert Turner says Abraham, hell, he taught astrology. Who do you think taught astrology to the Egyptians and the Babylonians? And of course, nowadays we know that's nonsense. We know that's nonsense. Okay, we know that Abraham did not go teach astrology to the Egyptians in Babylon. We know that's not true. It's nonsense. But this is, again, Robert Turner in 1654. He's defending astrology against a Christian audience. Okay? Earlier, he defended magic. He said, look, the three wise men were magicians. Okay? Here, he's saying, look, Abraham taught astrology. So, this is the thing. We're looking at magic and history. Okay, this is from the 1600s. Robert Turner, who translated this work from Latin into English in 1655 in London, he translates all this into English. He is defending astrology. He says, Abraham taught astrology. What's your problem? Oh, you think astrology's of the devil? Huh. You must not like Abraham very much. He taught it. That's what he's basically doing. So back to the text, okay? Neither did the abuse of astrology terrify Abraham, if we believe the most ancient and religious writers, from observing the motions and natures of the heavenly bodies. Neither can it dehort wise and learned men in these days from attributing those virtues, influences, and inclinations to the stars and other lights of heaven, which God hath given to those his glorious creatures. I must expect some calumnies and obtrictations against this. Okay, I'm almost done with this part, so here we go. And then we'll read some comments, y'all. We'll read some comments, but here we go. Almost done. I must expect some calumnies and obtrictations against this from the malicious prejudiced man and the lazy affectors of ignorance, of whom this age swarms. Damn, Robert. You're getting crunk on them fools. Here we go. I must expect some calumnies and obtrictations against this from the malicious prejudiced man and the lazy affectors of ignorance, of whom this age swarms. But the voice and sound of the snake and the goose is all one. But our stomachs are not now so queasy and tender, after so long time feeding upon solid divinity. Nor do we so umbrageous and startling have been so long enlightened in God's path that we should relapse into the childish age, in which Aristotle's metaphysics in a council in France was forbid to read. But I incite the reader to a charitable opinion hereof, with a Christian protestation of an innocent purpose therein, and entreat the reader to follow this advice. Tabeas qui litigant sint ambo in conspectus tuo mali et re. And if there be any scandal in this enterprise of mine, it is taken, not given. So if there be any scandal in this enterprise, people are going to complain, oh, Robert Turner, you're going to translate books on magic in the 17th century London? Are you mad, sir? So he's acknowledging, like, he knows that this is going to make some people mad, Yes, he's publishing a magic book, in 1600s London. So he says here, he says here, and if there be any scandal, in this enterprise, he's talking to his haters, Robert Turner knows he's going to have some haters. He says, so it's just interesting learning about this history, listening to this guy from 1654 dealing with his haters by, goose quill pen and ink. He's like, listen here, haters, with his little goose quill pen, on his little writing desk. So he says here, and if there be any scandal in this enterprise of mine, it is taken, not given. And this comfort I have in that axiom of Hermes Trismegistus, qui pius est summe philosophator, and therefore I present it without disguise, and object it to all of candor and indifference, and of readers of whom thereby 4 sorts, as one observer, sponges which attract all without distinguishing, hourglasses which receive and pour out as fast, bags which he's talking about his readers. So different people are going to absorb the information in different ways. Let's go back. Let's listen into how it's interesting how like descriptive the language is in the 1600s. So of the readers of whom there be 4 sorts, there's 4 types of readers. As one observers, sponges which attract all without distinguishing, hourglasses which receive and pour out as fast. He's talking about 4 types of readers. Bags which retain only the dregs of spices and let the wine escape, and sieves which retain the best only. Some there are of the last sort, and to them I present this occult philosophy, knowing that they may reap good thereby. And they who are severe against it, they shall pardon this my opinion, that such their severity proceeds from self-guiltiness, and give me leave to apply that of an odious, that it is the nature of self-wickedness to think that of others which themselves deserve, and it is all the comfort which the guilty have, not to find any innocence, but that amongst others this may find some acceptation in the desire of Robert Turner. Wait a minute. Is that the end of the desire of Robert Turner? Wait a minute. Yep, that's it. Okay. All right, sirs and madams. So, Robert Turner, by the way, he was also the guy that translated the 3 books of occult philosophy into English. Okay. He also translated the 3 books of occult philosophy into English. Okay. And we still, again, a lot of people are still using his translation. Ugh. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into some comments and stuff. All right. How are y'all doing today? Iramar says, hi, Taliesin. Iramar here from Brazil. Hello, Iramar. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We've got someone from Brazil. By the way, where's everybody from? That would be an interesting thing to do. Let's see where everyone hails from that are tuning in. Rachel says, thank you for reading to us. It's one of my favorite things. Thank you so much. I've thought about doing this for many, many, many years. Okay, many years I've thought about reading, but I was like, well, that's kind of boring, just reading. But really, yeah, I think it would be cool. We could explore these old texts together. And, yeah. And, there are different types of people. Some people are visual learners, some people are more auditory. Some people learn better having something read to them than reading themselves. So everyone has different reading styles. Some people do really well just reading a book silently, okay? Some people do better reading and hearing. Some people do better listening, okay? Tony says, I'm from Athens, Texas, but in China now. Hey, Tony, how are you doing? Welcome. Good to see you here again. I'm from Tyler, Texas, you know. I'm from East Texas. Taliesin McKnight from East Texas, y'all. Athens, Texas, that's like 40 minutes away from me. So where's everyone else from? Let me see here. All right. Let me see here, looking at the comments. Let's see. All right. Wow, there's a lot of comments to go through. All right. Southern Cal. All right. Southern California. SoCal. All right. Justin says, hi, Taliesin. Pennsylvania here. Okay. We got Pennsylvania. All right, y'all. I'll be right back. So we got Pennsylvania. We have Brazil. Southern California. Okay. No, Lero, you're not in Nicaragua or China. All right. All right. I'll be right back. Give me just 1 second, y'all. Hold on just a minute. You know, not bad. I recognize the flag, you know. I knew the flag. USA. USA. Okay, I'm just reading the comment. It's a bunch of flags, okay? It's a bunch of flags. She put a bunch of flags, and then a China flag, and a Nicaraguan flag, and then there's like a whole bunch of United States flags. Okay. All right. Oh, Lyriel says I'm putting the flags of what everyone says they're from or at. Okay, cool. I like that. We're organizing over here. How's everyone's morning going? How are y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right? We're reading some old magic books, you know. Be honest. What do y'all think about me reading through these old texts with y'all? And maybe read a paragraph, set the book down, we'll talk about it a little bit. And the thing about these lives is I could actually get comments back and forth. Maybe you'll think of something that I didn't address, or maybe you think of something that it brings something to your mind that you want to share in the lives, okay? So here's what's going on. We're reading these old texts, so anyone that maybe they're not very good at like reading silent, they do well with hearing. We're reading to you all these old texts, these old sources. And then, like I said, I'll do commentary. And then if you're live, you can put your own insight out there. Now, sometimes if I'm like in the zone, I'll just be reading. I may not do it right then, but I'll try to like scroll back through and read what you said. So yeah, I think it's a cool idea. But what do y'all think? You know, I like to have viewer feedback. So Fabian is from Mexico. Bienvenidos, amigo. Es un gran placer tenerte acá conmigo. En vivo. Okay. All right, y'all. All right. So, and then we're going to do some geomancy as well. All righty. All right. Gracias igualmente. Okay, y'all. And then today we're going to continue our geomancy series, you know. I'm starting to think of ways that I could actually make this interactive, you know. What if I gave homework? What if there were like exercises that people can do, meditations, you know, I don't know, maybe there's some people that would get into that, you know. I don't know. I've got all kinds of ideas. My mind is like a torrent, you know? Like a torrent of ideas, rivulating thoughts cascading upon my mind. Yeah? Hell yeah. All right, y'all. Shall we read a little bit more? Because I plan to go through the whole thing. I do. I plan to go through the whole damn thing. Let's read a little bit more. What do y'all think? Is that cool with y'all? I'm going to read a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll stop it. Yeah, let's get a little bit more done. All right. Okay. Fabian says, I would be up for that. Do you have a Patreon? I'm going to try to set it up today. You know, it's interesting. You know, I don't want to go too much because it could be considered like a unpersonal, unverified gnosis. But like, I believe in the Shem angels. I believe in this stuff. And working through the Shem angels, I had several different angels tell me, well, you need to write a book about the Shem angels. Several different angels told me I needed to write a book about this. And then I've had them like, and again, I'm not saying that anyone else believe my experience. Okay, I'm not each person. This is my personal experience. And I want everyone to always draw your own conclusions. I don't want anyone to ever necessarily believe me, okay? But my personal experience, unverified gnosis, recognizing that for what it is, just because you experience something doesn't make it real. But over time, I need to write a book about the Shem angels. So whether that's from within me or without, and I do believe that it's real, by the way. I do believe in the Shem angels as real entities. But so I've been writing on basically a Shem Angel calendar, a Shem Angel text I've been working on. I plan to have it here pretty soon. Here in about a month, I should be publishing that. That's my goal. I'm going to be publishing it in about a month. And then I'm going to have my Shem Angel calendar that I can then, you know, sell with my those that want to have a copy. You know, no one's required to have a copy. All of my information is free and given to the public. Okay, my information is free, but I need a way, you know, also. So, but the Shem Angel calendar, for those of you that want to be able to purchase that, that's something that I plan to have published tomorrow. I've been working on it for months, and for a while I've been working on the Shem Angel calendar, but hopefully I'm going to have that published next month, and then that can go with my videos. And but anyways, the Shem Angels, again, personal unverified gnosis. I totally recognize that this is just my experience, doesn't make it real, whatever else. Okay, all of that said, basically they told me that like you need to do Taliesin McKnight full time because you know, I've been drawn away from doing this to focusing on career like throughout my life, you know. So here's the thing, I've been basically told you need to be Taliesin McKnight full time. Instead of doing this and then having another job or another career, you need to just do Taliesin McKnight 100% of the time. This is who you are. This is your job. This is who you are. I could be who I am. Where do I thrive? Do I thrive in an office? Okay, like, you know, office at the water cooler, talking about the latest gossip. I'm going to go type on a computer. No, it's not where I'm Taliesin McKnight. This is what I'm supposed to do. And kind of that realization, like in doing my work with the Shem Angels, it's like you need to just be Taliesin McKnight. Like, be who you are. Stop dividing your time. So, and that's part of the reason why I've been able to do these hour-long videos every day. Some days it's been 2 hours. And it's not 2 hours of just fluff either. Okay, if you listen to the 2 hours, it's nonstop talking about historical texts or like something. It's there's a lot of meat in there. Okay, so I've been doing at least an hour a day, Monday through Friday. I've been doing it. Have I sometimes has it been later on in the day? Yeah, but it's still every day. Okay, so this is Esoteric Coffee Hour number 8, you know. I plan to do this Monday through Friday. So I'm doing this like as my full-time job right now, you know. But that said, if I'm going to make Taliesin McKnight my full-time job, and I'm going to put all of my effort into doing this, just putting everything into being Taliesin McKnight, making videos, talking about occultism, spreading information, talking about the Shem Angels. If this is what I'm going to do as my full-time job, I need to monetize my content. Because, you know, a man's got to eat. If I'm not going to work and I'm just going to do this all the time. So I have my Amazon affiliate links, you know. And the thing is, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little self-conscious about it. I don't want people to think that I'm like, oh, yes, click the link. No. If you want to go buy somewhere, go do it, But for those of you that, because I'm going to be reading through a lot of books, those of you that want to do that, the affiliate marketing, and then also, I'm working on other ways to monetize my content. I need to get a Patreon today. I need to get a Patreon. So my method, there are two different ways to make a living doing this stuff. One way is to charge money for the information. One way is to charge money for the information itself. That's not my method. This is the way to make money where you go buy a book. If you want the book, you better pay. You want that info, you better pay for the master class. That's one way to make money. You hide the knowledge where you have to pay for the knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why people buy books. They buy books for this whole purpose. You want the knowledge, you pay for it. That's one way. That's not my way. The second way, which is my approach, I give the knowledge free to everyone. Everyone. You don't have to buy a damn thing. I give the knowledge free to everyone. Anybody can listen. You pay if you want. You pay if you want. Knowledge is free to everyone. But my way of making a living is going to be through, like, of course, I'll put in the ads and stuff, and then on YouTube, the AdSense, and then Patreon. I'm going to have Patreon, anyone that wants to support my work. And then, of course, the affiliate links, like Amazon affiliate. I'm an Amazon. If people want to buy the book and they click the link, then I get a commission. And then also, like private tutoring and stuff like that. Okay. So basically, yeah, that's just kind of what I've been up to, because sometimes in my videos, it's just information. Sometimes I talk about what I've been up to. But right now I'm trying to do Taliesin McKnight full time. So my Patreon, I need to get that set up today. Okay. Tomorrow, you know what? Now I said it. Now I said it in front of what eventually will be thousands of people. Now I said it. I have to. I've set up my Patreon. Okay. So I have to have it done today. Tomorrow I'll have a Patreon for anyone that wants to support my work. But anyways, I need to monetize because I want to do this as my job. This will be I'll be able to put all of my focus into making content and making videos, okay? Because I'm not doing this and something. I'm just doing this. I'm putting all of my heart into one thing, okay? And to me, that's like really being like who I am and like following my true purpose and all of that. Anyways, okay. Fabian says, I've sent you a message about private tutoring. Okay, Fabian. I didn't even know that you sent me a message. I'll take a look at that, Fabian. So yeah. So here we go. For those of you that are interested in private tutoring, now I have to make sure that it's something that I can actually help you with. Okay. If it's something that I can actually help, because, or I could point you to a place you need to go, but private tutoring, if people are interested in that, hit me up on Facebook and we'll set that up. So all of my information is free. All of my videos are free. But people that, they want to do a private class. It's just the two of us, It's like it's like a video like this. Think of it like this. It's like a video like this, except it's just the two of us for an hour talking about, whatever. But, all right, let's read a little bit more. All right. Tony says, much better than talk radio. Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I can compete with that. You're too kind. Y'all are too kind. Fabian, I'm gonna message you back about that private tutoring, Fabian. I'll take a look at that. Justin says, do what you love, and if you're good at it, don't do it for free, LOL. Well, there's two approaches, My approach is to give the information for free. And then, if people want to support or whatever, they can. That's just my approach. I like to give freely, but also make that, an option, I might sell some merch, And I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. So we're going to get back to this again. I'll give links to the text for anyone that wants to purchase this book. Henry Cornelius Agrippa, his fourth book of occult philosophy, which includes the actual fourth book, and then of Geomancy, the magical elements of Peter de Abano, or the Heptameron, astronomical geomancy, the nature of spirits, and the arbitel of magic. So this is like a compendium of magic from the 16th century, okay? You get 2 geomancy texts, a book on the nature of spirits, so you get kind of like a 16th century mindset. What would a Renaissance mage from the 16th century think about spirits? You kind of get into that mindset. Not that we need to slavishly follow, so we can understand their mindset. The arbitel of magic, okay? All of this is included. And again, this is the Robert Turner English translation. Robert Turner published this in 1655. Fabian says, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. So, to his special friend, Mr. Robert Turner, on his judicious translation of Cornelius Agrippa. Okay? So this is a guy writing back to Robert Turner. Again, this is 1650. This is after this. This is what the English translates. I just think it's cool. Yeah, it's a century later. It is 100 years later in the 1600s London. But I just like the 1600s London, type of thing. What's this computer doing? No, don't do that. Go away, computer. Okay, y'all. So, to his special friend, Mr. Robert Turner, on his judicious translation of Cornelius Agrippa. These guys are passing notes back and forth in magic books in the 1600s, okay? As one that just out of a trance appears, amazed with stranger sights, whose secret fears are scarcely past, but doubtful whether he may credit's eyes, remaineth steadfastly fixed on those objects. Just like him I stand, wrapped in amazement to behold, that can by art come near the gods that far excel the angels that in those bright spheres do dwell. Behold Agrippa mounting the lofty skies, talking with gods, and then anon be prized into earth's deep cabinet as to Mercury. All kinds of spirits willing subjects be, and more than this his book supplies, but we, blind mortals, no ways could be led to see that light without a taper. Then thou to us must be Agrippa and an Oedipus. Agrippa once again appears by thee, pulled out of the ashes of antiquity. Let squint-eyed envy pine away whilst thou wearest crowns of praise on thy deserving brow. I.P.E. Cantabridge. So that was a little note from the 16th. That was a little note to his special friend, Mr. Robert Turner, on his judicious translation of Cornelius Agrippa. Okay, here's another guy that wrote like a congratulation letter. Okay, again, this is from the 1600s. We're reading letters from the 1600s, y'all. This is another guy congratulating Turner on his wonderful translation. This is by W.P.S. Johns Camber. Okay. This is another little letter. Okay, this was printed with Robert Turner's English. He's like, pat on the back. To his ingenious friend, Mr. Turner, upon his translation. Thrice noble soul, renowned epitome of learning and occult philosophy, that unknown geomancy dost impart, with profound secrets of that abstruse art. To expound natural magic is thy task, not hell-born necromancy to unmask, exposing mysteries to public view, that heretofore were known by very few. Thou dost not keep thy knowledge to thyself, as base covetous misers do their pelf, whose numerous bags of rust-eaten gold profits none, tell themselves, are laid in mold. But studious of public good, dost make all of the fruits of thy labors to partake. It's a poem. It's from the 1600s. Beautiful. Therefore, if some captious critic blame thy writing, surely then his judgment's lame. Damn! Damn! Burn! Okay? Therefore, if some captious critic blame thy writing, surely then his judgment's lame. If they blame you, then their judgment's just lame. Thy writing, surely then his judgment's... Okay. Art hath no hater. Art hath no hater. Okay? Haters gonna hate. When he published this book, haters gonna hate, y'all. Art hath no hater, but an empty pate, which can far better carp than imitate. Nay, Zoilus and Momus will not dare blame thy translation without compare. Excellent, so that if in 100 tongues Dame Nature had bestowed in brazen lungs to rightly to cucanate thy praise, I should want strength as well as polite phrases. But if the gods will grant what I crave, then Enoch's translation shalt thou have. W.P.S. Johns Kemp. Okay. And here's another one by J.B. Okay, that's my buddy J.B. Okay, to his friend the author on his translation. What? Not a Sibyl or Cassandra left? Apollo ceased? Has sharp-fanged time bereft us of the oracles? Let me read that again. What? Not a Sibyl or Cassandra left? Apollo ceased? Has sharp-fanged time bereft us of the oracles? Is Dodan's grove cut down? Does never a word proceed from Jove into the ears of mortals that inherit Tiresias' soul? Or of the great Calchas' spirit? What is become of the augurs that foretold nature's intents? Are the Magi dead? Are the Magi dead that could tell us what was done in every sphere? Shall we not know what's done in the remotest country without great travel? Can't we below descry the mind of the gods above? All's done by thee, Agrippa. All their arts lie couched in thee. The art that before in diverse heads did lie is now collect in the one monopoly. But all's in vain. We lacked an Oedipus, who should interpret's meaning unto us. This thou effectest with such dexterity, adding perhaps what the author never did see, that we may say thou dost the art renew, to thee the greater half of the praises due. Wow, he's a popular fellow, this Robert Turner. Here's one from J.R. Good old J.R. I guess they didn't want to give their full names. They're like endorsing a modern or in the 1600s, a modern translation of Agrippa. They didn't want to put their, yo, I'm J.R. Yo, what's up? My name's J.B., you know. You know, he didn't want to give out their real names, you know. It's like, psst, put my bio in there and just put me as J.B. or J.R., okay? To the author of his translation of Cornelius Agrippa. Are y'all enjoying these letters from the 1600s? Okay. All right. To the author of his translation of Cornelius Agrippa. We're going to get through these letters congratulating Robert Turner. To the author of his translation of Cornelius Agrippa. This one's by J.R. Palace of learning the art, if goddess named, which prototype thy knowledge hath explained, which nature also striving to combine, science and learning, in this form of thine, to us not darkly, but doth clearly show knowledge of mysteries as the shrine in you. By the permission 'tis we have access into geomancy. Geomancy, yep, geomancy. Into geomancy, which yet unless thou hadst unmasked a mystery had lain a task too hard for mortals to explain, which since thou hast from the Lethean floods preserved, well consecrate the laurel buds. To thee, Phoebus dismissed, thine shall be the oracle to which all men shall flee. In time of danger thy prediction shall, to whatsoever thou commandest, enthrall our willing hearts, yea, thou shalt be sole prophets, we obedient to thee. By J.R. Okay. How much of this do we have? We got three more. Let's see. No, one, two, yep, three more. They're a page each. We'll get through these. To the reader, on his translation of Cornelius Agrippa. Oh, this guy's brave. He put his whole name on his endorsement. He's like, I don't give a damn. You could put my name, Robert Turner, on your English translation in the 1600s London. This is from John Tomlinson. John Tomlinson, we're still talking about you. 400 years later, four centuries later, we're reading your letter, John. John Tomlinson of St. John's in Cambridge. Okay. To the author, this is by John Tomlinson. To the author, this is to Robert Turner. Again, it's congratulating him on his English translation of Agrippa's fourth book. To the author on his translation of Cornelius Agrippa. Doth Phoebus cease to answer? But this is interesting. Notice all the classical references. Okay, the classical references to ancient like Greek or Roman deities and mythology, classical mythology. This really shows that what we have here in like the Renaissance, yes, it was in a Christianized environment, the magic, but also pagan because they're still taught using pagan they're still inspired by Greek mythology, Roman mythology. So you see a lot of pagan learning, talks of the anima mundi or world soul of Plato, of these pagan philosophers, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermetic writings. And let's face it, no matter how Christianized the text is, you're dealing with the 7 planetary deities, okay? There's no getting around that you're working with Venus. That's like Aphrodite, okay? Yeah, it's an angel of Venus, or Mars, or the sun, but yeah, you're still celestial bodies, you know. Just saying, that's part of the tradition. But anyways, I'm just showing that classical learning from like the Greco-Roman, Egyptian, Babylonian, all that, is still impacting the Renaissance, okay? So, anyways, back to this. Tom Tomlinson writes this to Robert Turner. Doth Phoebus cease to answer to our demands? Or will he not accept at mortal hands a sad Bidental? And is Sibyl's cave uninhabitable? Or may Tiresias have no successor nor rival? How shall we then Oedipus to the world direct? If he do incest add to parricide, they are dumb, that could predict what things should surely come, and what are silent that knew went to apply to our body politic purge and phlebotomy. How will bold thieves our treasures rob, who shall lost goods regain, or by his charms recall the nocent? The art is by thee reprived, in thee the magi seem to be revived. Phoebus is not brain sick, Jove's doves not dead, the oracles not ceased, Agrippa's bed, like the Arabian bird's self-builded nest, which first her urn proves, then her quickening rest, hath thee produced more than his equal share. Else had this art as yet remained obscure, a miracle to vulgars, well known to none, scarce read by deepest apprehension. Then I'll conclude, since thou dost him explain, that the younger brother hath the better brain. By Tom Tomlinson, from St. John's in Cambridge. Okay, here's another one by MS. To his good friend the author on his translation of occult philosophy and geomancy. And again, this book goes into geomancy. We're looking at 16th century works. I told you geomancy was a Renaissance magic thing, and now we're going into some 16th century texts from the Renaissance on how to do geomancy, okay? So you've been doing geomancy with me. We're going to be going into some 16th century texts on geomancy, okay? So you're really going to be doing this like a Renaissance mage by the time we get through these videos. So, to his good friend, the author, on his translation of occult philosophy and geomancy. There's 2 more, including this one, and we'll be done. Most noble undertakings, as if art and prudence should be a bargain make to impart. Refulgent lustres you send forth array, which noblest patrons never could display. Well may Diana love you and inspire your noblest genius with celestial fire, whose sparkling fancy with more power can quell, and sooner conquer than a magic spell. The author thought not, when he penned the book, to be surmounted by a higher look, and be overtopped by more triumphant strain, which should exalt his then most pleasant vein. But seeing that a later progeny has snatched his honor from obscurity, both shall revive and make spectators know the best deservers of the laurel bow. Nature and art here strive the victory to get, and though to yield he doth deny, thee hast got the start, though he triumph in praise. Yet may his ivy wait upon your bays. Okay, then we have one more. This is by Joe Tabor. We have one more of these. To the author on his ingenious translation of Cornelius Agrippa. What is it I view? Agrippa made to wear, and engulf in habit, an English... Okay, hold on, I messed that up. To the author on his ingenious translation of Agrippa. I can see Robert Turner being like, thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, you can throw roses at me for my new English translation, y'all. Throw the roses at me, you know? Getting all congratulated. There's the last one. What is it I view? Agrippa made to wear an English habit? An English habit, you know, like a habit is something you wear. What is it I hear? Agrippa to wear an English habit? Because again, this was in Latin, and Agrippa's now made into English for the first time. This is history. Agrippa made into English for the first time. You don't have to speak Latin to read Agrippa now because of Robert Turner. And we still use his translation, 1655. He also translated Agrippa, 3 books. But anyways, what is it I view? Agrippa made to wear an English habit? Sure, 'tis something rare. Or are his Roman garments by thy wit, Romaine garments by thy wit, translated to an English garb to fit? To illustrate him, for that thou hast, we see, enlightened his obscure philosophy, and that which did so intricate remain, thou hast exposed to every regular brain. So, Robert Turner, you've exposed it to every regular brain. If then thy beams through such dark work shine clear, how splendent will they in thine own appear! Then go thou on, brave soul, to spread such rays of learning through the world, may speak thy praise, and fear no critics, for thou by a spell canst force their tongues within their teeth to dwell. Damn! For thou by a spell canst force their tongues within their teeth to dwell. Damn, listen to that. So this is his friends, Robert Turner's friends, are basically coming to support him, okay? Listen to the last line that he says to Robert Turner. And fear no critics, don't be scared of critics, and fear no critics, for thou by a spell canst force their tongues within their teeth to dwell. He's like, don't be scared of critics, you can just curse them or shut their mouths with magic. It's pretty ballsy. That's the last line of his endorsements before you get to the text, by the way. And fear no critics, for thou by a spell canst force their tongues within their teeth to dwell. Okay, so that's the end of the things that go to introduce Robert Turner's translation. Then you get to the meat of the text. But I just love that. What's this I view? Agrippa made to wear an English habit? Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Don't threaten me with a good time, you know? That's what I'm talking about. What's this I hear? Agrippa made to read an English habit. And then what's next? Next is geomancy. Agrippa. Now it's interesting. This next text on geomancy is ascribed to Agrippa. Now, did Agrippa really write it? That's up to you to decide as an independent, you know, and then scholars have their opinion. Many people think that Agrippa did not write it, okay? I think a lot of people think he didn't write it, pseudo-Agrippa. But either way, it's from the 16th century, okay? But Agrippa did refer to himself writing a work on geomancy. I recommend people read Stephen Skinner's 4th book. His introduction is incredible. By the way, again, they're Amazon affiliate links. I do get a commission, or just full disclosure, or you can buy it somewhere else. Either way, I'm going to give links. It's not in the live, but later on I'll give links. Stephen Skinner's version of this has an excellent introduction that kind of goes over all of this. And then also in his preface, and then also another version I really like is the Donald Tyson. So everyone always wants better and newer, better and newer, better and newer. Everyone wants the new gadget that comes out. People are no different with occult books. Oh, you got the new iPhone, you got the new gadget. Everyone wants to be de moda. Everyone wants to be in style and popular and have the newest thing. Okay, but when it comes to Agrippa, I mean, I really like the Donald Tyson because it's so annotated. Like, yeah, it's old school. This is this is what people, you know, it's nostalgic for many old timers and old schoolers, but Donald Tyson, he's so many footnotes. Like, for someone that's been doing this for decades, the footnotes maybe not be that important. But for someone starting out, Donald Tyson's footnotes, like to his 3 books of occult philosophy, I think are very helpful. And also his 4th book, Donald Tyson, I think he's very good for his footnotes. He helps someone that maybe doesn't know a lot of this stuff yet. Through the footnotes, he kind of explains. So he'll read a little Agrippa and then he'll explain it in a footnote. So I really like the old school Donald Tyson. Also, Stephen Skinner gives a version of the 4th book. I highly recommend it because it also, like I said, he really goes into it. Stephen Skinner did a wonderful job. Anything that Stephen Skinner does is top-notch quality. And him and Joseph H. Peterson. Okay. So next is a work on geomancy. Let's see where we are now. In my own process, I've discovered that in learning, it helps to compartmentalize things. Like today we did all the endorsements and we talked about the book. I think that tomorrow we can start going into the geomancy. And by the way, for those of you that are getting impatient, like where's the shield charts? Where's the charts? Where's the house charts? I want to go into the witnesses and the judge and all this. For those of you that are antsy, you want to go forward with the geomancy beyond just driving the figure. Hey, guess what? I'm going to have to. You know why? You know why I'm going to have to? Because we're about to start going through the 16th century books on geomancy. It's going to go into the house chart. So I'm going to have to break this down for y'all. How to do a house chart with geomancy and how to read that. By the way, Stephen Skinner has also written a wonderful book on geomancy as well. I highly recommend that. I'll give a link to that as well. Stephen Skinner, he also wrote an excellent book on geomancy. I need to remember. See, sometimes I'll put something in a video and then I'll forget to do it. Okay, because believe it or not, it's a lot of work to do an hour, 2 hours of just talking, and then you say something. I'm human, and you forget. I need to make a note. I need to add Stephen Skinner's Geomancy. I need to make a note to my Stephen Skinner's Geomancy. I need to post Stephen Skinner's Geomancy, and what was the other thing? Patreon. I need to do Patreon today. And then Fabian. I need to hit up Fabian. These 3 things today. I need to hit up Fabian. Lyrial, can you make a note? Do you mind making a note, Lyrial? The Fabian. Need to do a thing with Fabian. And then put a link to Stephen Skinner's Geomancy. And then Patreon. Those 3 things. I'm going to have that today. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So how about a brief, very brief intermission? Where are we? It's 10:30. I started at what time? 9? Yeah, it's been an hour and a half, right? Right? What does it say? How long has it been? An hour and a half? I think that we can go on into the geomantic part. We're going to each draw a geomantic figure. And if you want to take part in that. So first of all, we will draw a figure and I'll look at your readings and we'll all go over this for those of you that tuning in live. And then we'll go over the, we'll go over the next figure. So, all right, give me just a second. Give me like a 5-minute intermission thing, okay? So give me like 5 minutes, okay? And then we're gonna go into this. So give me like 5 minutes, y'all. If you're not watching live, then you can just skip ahead. Just skip ahead 5 minutes, and then until you see me again. If you're watching live, it has been an hour and a half. It's been an hour and a half. So give me 5 minutes here, okay? And you know what I'm gonna do? Actually, hold on a second here. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna get some fancy music. What do y'all think about that? Hell yeah. What you think about that, y'all? Huh? Why are y'all so awesome all the time? I want to know that. Why are y'all so damn awesome? Oh, hell yeah. That's my jam, y'all. That's my jam. Bro. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. 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 Hell yeah. Okay, Tony says it's 12:30 a.m. I appreciate your top up sleepy. Okay, well have a good night, Tony, and then I'll have the rest of the show. You know, you can watch it later if you'd like. All right. Rachel says all beautiful love songs are based off the Songs of Solomon, the Song of Songs. I love to hear a good song. All right, so give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer. Okay. I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Talk to y'all in 5 minutes. I'll be back. All right. I'm just going to use the bathroom break, get some coffee, and we'll continue. All right. Talk to y'all in a minute. ¿Cómo mi amor? ¿Detrás de qué? ¿Detrás de qué, amor? ¿Cómo da? Ya, dame un momento. Ok. Hola, mi amor, dame un momento, baby, porque estoy haciendo el video, pero estoy en llamada contigo acá durante el video. All right, y'all, here we go. Ok, pero ¿qué me preguntaste? Estoy en vivo. Estoy en vivo. Ok, pero, ok. Hablamos luego. Estoy en vivo, ok. Escúchame en vivo, ok. All right, I'll see you on the line. All right, all right. All right, y'all. So here we are. Had a little intermission thing. So today we're going to be going back into geomancy, okay? And for those of you that want to take part and draw your own geomantic figure, what you'll need is paper and a pen. So you'll need paper and a pen, okay? So this is what you'll do. This was from yesterday. I'll actually make a line and I'll just work down here below because there's no need in like using extra paper. Actually, I can use this. Yep, get your Sharpie ready, get your pens ready. So you'll need pen and a paper. And by the end of this show, you're going to be a geomancer, okay? And then, by the way, like I said, we're about to start reading through Agrippa's fourth book of occult philosophy, which actually includes 6 texts. One of them is actually his fourth book proper. The other 5 texts, 2 of them are works on geomancy, okay? So we're getting into geomancy from the 16th century, okay? So, think of a question. Make sure that it's a well thought out question. Okay. All right. Let me see. Now I need to think of something else. Let me see. Here we go. All right. Okay, so here we go. Think of a question, and now we're going to make 4 rows of dots. See how I have 4 rows of dots here? I have a top row of dots. I have a second row of dots. I have a third row of dots. I have a fourth row of dots. What you're going to do is you're going to think of your question, and you're going to make 4 rows of dots. Don't worry about how many. Don't worry about anything. Just think of your question and take your Sharpie or pen and make 4 rows of dots, okay? Now I'm going to do this. Let's do it together. Do you have your question? Okay? Everybody's got their question ready? All right, let's do it. Think of your question and make 4 rows of dots. All right. And then I'll give y'all a moment to do that. I already did mine. I have my 4 rows of dots, thinking of my question. So I'll give y'all a second. Okay? So everyone make 4 rows of dots. Okay? And we're doing geomancy. We're doing Renaissance magic. Right now, as we speak, we're doing Renaissance magic. Like I said, with Agrippa, well, pseudo-Agrippa, perhaps, we're going into 16th century geomancy. We're going into how this was something that someone would have done. And believe me, when occult books got published, they went everywhere in the occult community. Okay? So these works were absolutely influential. It's not like they had a million books you can just order on Amazon and get sent to your door. Back in the 1500s, if an big occult book came out, like Agrippa on Geomancy or something, or the Heptameron, believe me, it was a big deal. Okay, so this was very influential. And all these texts together, there's 6 books, 6 treatises on magic, all from the 16th century, all from the 16th century. So you get 2 books, 2 books from the 1500s on geomancy, which we're going to go into. 2 books from the 1500s on geomancy that we're going to be going into, and then a book on the nature spirits from this 1500s mindset, and then books on magic and talismans and all kinds of stuff, okay? So we're going to be going into a magic, important, influential 6 treatises of magic from the 1500s. Okay. All right. Espíritu Pagano, bienvenidos. Y yo hago contenido en inglés y también en español. Los fines de semana yo hago contenido en español. Y hoy es un episodio en inglés. Estoy hablando de Agrippa, de la magia renacentista. Okay. All right, so everyone's got your 4 rows of dots. So here we are, y'all. I'm going to break this down with y'all. So let's see what you get. What you do, again, I never know if someone's watching for the first time. I have to re-break it down because it might be the first time someone watches any of these. You count each row. If it's an odd number of dots, it becomes 1 dot in our geomantic figure. If it's an even number of dots, it becomes 2 dots in our geomantic figure. So you have 4 rows. So here we go. We're going to start with the top row. So how many dots do I have in my top row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is an odd number. So odd numbers become 1 dot. So from my top row, I get my geomantic figure. The top of my geomantic figure is 1 because it's an odd number of dots in the top row. Now I go to the second row. 1, 2, I count them, the number of dots in the second row of dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is also an odd number. So I put 1 dot in my geomantic figure. Okay, so from the second row is an odd number, so that becomes 1 dot in my geomantic figure. Now I count the number of dots in my third row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is an even number. Even numbers become 2. So in my geomantic figure, I put 2 here. Okay. And then here at the bottom row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is 1, which is Puella. I got Puella again. Again. I've drawn Puella like how many times in these videos? So I drew Puella yet again. So the 4 rows of dots, you count them. If you get an odd number, it becomes an odd number. So there's 4 lines. So my top row is an odd number. So that the top of my geomantic figure is 1. The second row of dots is an odd number of dots in my example. So the second in my figure is 1. And the third row is even, so that becomes 2. Fourth row is 1, becomes 1. That's my geomantic figure, Puella. So you get 4 rows. It could either be 1 dot or 2. So up here I have 2, 2, 1, 1. That's yesterday's figure. Today I have 1, 1, 2, 1. So think of it like binary. So Puella, again, I drew Puella. Puella has to do with like energy and drive, and it's associated with Aries. It's strengthened in the first house. If you do a house chart, it's strengthened in the first house, weakened in the 7th house. Puella is associated with energy and drive. It represents a phallus, or it could be seen as a sword. It represents male sexual energy. But what I take it mostly here in my reading is like energy and drive and push and courage and enthusiasm. Okay. I'm very passionate about these topics. So what did you get? So let's see here. So Espíritu Pagano got conjunctio. Okay. Okay. ¿Y usted, do you speak English? ¿Usted habla inglés también? ¿O español? Puedo explicar en español también porque veo el nombre espíritu pagano y pienso, pues probablemente hablas inglés también. Conjunctio. Okay, this figure, I actually talked about conjunctio yesterday. It's the image of a crossroads. It represents union. It's ruled by Mercury. It has union of opposites. It's any kind of coming together. It could represent a partnership, a working together with someone, a coming into contact of some kind. Okay, that's conjunctio. Okay, in yesterday's video, I go all into conjunctio. Conjunctio is about a union, a coming together. Now, conjunctio is neither good nor bad. It depends on the figures around it. Conjunctio would be bad in anything that requires isolation and solitude. Conjunctio, or if you want to get away from a partnership or something, you don't want conjunctio. But conjunctio represents a coming together. It's good where you need working together or coming together or a union or whatever else, okay? Fabian got Albus. So Albus is like a goblet or cup. It represents like a cup of wisdom. And its internal element is water. But externally, its outer element, of course, is air because Albus is assigned to Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So Albus is about peace and wisdom and detachment. I love Albus. Albus is one of my favorites. For me, Albus is like the hermit card of geomancy, okay? Not to bring in like modern tarot stuff, but to me, Albus is like the hermit card of geomancy. It's like wisdom. Think of like a cup of wisdom or a grail, you know, it's like it's wisdom, it's detachments, it's peace, it's wisdom. Albus is good in any, and again, Albus is neither good nor bad. Albus is good in anything that requires wisdom and prudence and careful decision making. Albus is generally good in business. Okay, good in business matters. You're making an intelligent decision in Albus in business. However, Albus is bad if you need something rash and bold and just dry. Albus is very careful. Okay, Puer is like that rush of energy, whatever. Okay, so Albus and Puer. Albus is more like detachment and intellect and thinking about things. So if you need a lot of quick action, maybe Albus is not what you mean. Albus is very detached and like intellectual. Albus is actually the opposite of Rubeus. So if you look at Rubeus, it's actually Albus upside down. Okay, it's think of it like someone's drunk. They've drank all their goblet and set it down. Rubeus. And it means burning. But anyways, back to Albus. Albus and Rubeus is a lot of passion. Albus is like detachment, peace, and wisdom. Okay. Its outer element is air. Its inner element is water. Okay. Excellent, Espiritu. Okay. Alejandra also got Albus. No. Alejandra got Rubeus. Okay, Alejandra got Rubeus, and Rubeus is the opposite of Albus. So Alejandra, Rubeus is assigned to Scorpio and the 8th house. It's strengthened in the 8th house. It's weakened in the 2nd house. Signed to Scorpio. Rubeus is all about passion, energy. Rubeus could be seen as a destructive type of geomantic figure. It's usually seen as the bad figure. Unfortunately, it gets a bad rap, like the Tower, the Death card, and Tarot. It's like the bad figure, Rubeus. But really, it's not a bad figure if you're asking about anything dealing with sexuality. Rubeus would be good. Or if Rubeus is good for like passion and things. It's a lot of passion. But Rubeus could also be destructive, and it kind of shows how passion gets us in trouble. So Rubeus could also be a destructive image and represent like bad stuff that comes from that. For example, if you look at Albus, the geomantic figure looks like a goblet or chalice upright. Rubeus is a goblet upside down. Think of it like someone's drunk and they're fighting. That's Rubeus. Rubeus means burning. And Rubeus is all about passion. It's definitely not the image you want to get if you're asking about like business or any kind of cooperation or working together or partnership. I mean, it's got a sexual element, but it's not good for like a serious romance or a partnership, in my opinion. Okay, everyone's got their own. What you're doing is you're ruminating, you're thinking about a symbol and you're thinking of all the associations in your mind. So instead of like looking up an image, what does it mean, cookie cutter, look it up online? No, well, you have to do that to learn. But over time, you meditate upon the symbols, think of all its associations. How does this apply to my situation? But Rubeus is highly passionate, but it could also be very destructive. And it's associated with death and endings, and of course with the eighth house, and it's strengthened in the eighth house, weakened in the second. And then Rubeus has a lot to do with passions. Again, it means burning. It's assigned to Scorpio. Okay. And of course, Scorpio rules the genitals and the body, and so Scorpio also applies to like sexuality as well. So it could be ruin or lots of sex or many other things. These things are not just simple figures. These are like archetypes. There's so many meanings that you could extrapolate. I don't know your exact situation. You need to really think about the symbol and how does it apply to your situation. Okay. All right. Let me see here. All right, y'all. So today we're going to talk about the next geomantic figure. All right. Today we're going to talk about the next geomantic figure, and that's going to be all right. So how are y'all liking this series so far? Pretty good? All right, so the next geomantic figure that we are going to do, yesterday we did conjunctio, right? So today it is Puella. Puella. Okay, I'm just drawing out the figure. All right, so give me just a second, y'all. All right. Y'all doing all right? Y'all still tuning in? So I'm just drawing out this next geomantic figure, and then we'll talk about this. This figure is Puella. Puella, right? So yesterday we talked about conjunctio. Now, following this through the signs of the zodiac, they're astrological associations, and you'll often see the geomantic figures given in this order. The order that the 16 geomantic figures is given is normally not random. Usually it follows the zodiac. So normally you'll see Puer as the first figure. Normally you'll see Puer as the first figure listed. That's because it's Aries. Puer is associated with Aries. Taurus is associated with Amicio. Gemini is associated with Albus. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Puer is associated with Aries and strengthened in the first house. Amicio is associated with Taurus, strengthened in the second house. Albus is associated with Gemini and strengthened in the third house. Populus is associated with Cancer and strengthened in the fourth house. Fortuna Major is associated with Leo and strengthened in the fifth house. Conjunctio, which we did yesterday, is associated with Libra and Virgo, and is strengthened in the sixth house. Today, we're talking about Libra, which is strengthened in the seventh house, okay? So as you could see, the 16 geomantic figures are normally given in their astrological order. Okay, pretty simple stuff. So, of course, today we're talking about Puella, which is governed by Libra. Now, Puella is associated with Venus. Puella means girl, okay? Puella means girl. So this is so exciting. We're dealing with 16th century divination. This is like archaeology of like magic. Like you're like getting your fortune read by someone like John D over here. You know, it's awesome. All right, y'all. So Puella means girl. Okay. Puella means girl. And so Puella means girl. All right, so Puella means girl. And as you can see, it could be seen, the geomantic figure could be seen as having two breasts. Okay, it could be seen as having exaggerated breasts. So if you think of this as like a figure, like you can't forget the two breasts and Puella. Puella it means girl, it's represented by Venus. Okay. So Puella represents Venus, who is the goddess of love and sexuality, and Puella has the two breasts, okay? Puella represents like the female principle, okay? Puella, the divine feminine, okay? Venus. But also Puella is associated with Libra. Now, Libra is ruled by Venus, okay? Libra is ruled by Venus. So Libra is ruled by Venus. Again, you see the two breasts. You can't forget, okay? Libra is ruled by Venus. And you could also see like the two scales of Libra here, the two scales. You could also look at it another way of look. So you could see the two breasts. You could say Libra, like the two scales of a balance, okay? Libra is about balance and cooperation, working together. So you see Venus. Air is all about interaction. The external element of Puella is air. So air is about communication, interaction. So that's already relationships and interaction. Puella Venus is all about interaction between and union of opposites, combining of things that were separated or opposite or opposed, bringing them together, union of opposites. And then also Puella represents attraction and all of that. But also, so Libra is a balancing of light and dark, okay, in the year, a balancing of light and dark. So it brings things that are normally opposed together. It is a balance, and air, and then Venus. All of these are about harmony and cooperation, and that kind of goes into how Puella would be looked at in a reading. Now, another way to look at it is a mirror. This is a hand mirror. So you have the handle below, and then you have the circular mirror above. Okay, so another way to look at this figure is the mirror, like you have the handle beneath where you put your hand, and then the circular mirror above. It's a mirror like beauty. Okay, this is like the in geomancy. It's like Erzuli Freda or Aphrodite or any kind of like goddess or of love or spirit of love type of thing, but in a geomantic figure. So we see the mirror. You could see the mirror like beauty. You could also see the woman with the two breasts, okay, Puella, female, divine feminine, and you could also see it as the two scales, okay? So these are three different ways. Most often you hear people talk about the two breasts on Puella, okay? So Puella represents female sexuality, and it could represent a partnership or at least a working together. Because again, Libra and here this balancing of the scales is all about working together. You have your interests, your partner has their interests. So there's a teaching here that when you work together in a relationship, you need to cooperate, okay? It's like the balancing of the two scales, okay? It can't all be on your side, and it can't all be on the other side. You need a balancing, okay? And this is the balancing of day and night. and the year Libra. And then Venus is all about union. Okay, she unites. It's interesting that in Roman mythology, Venus is often united with Mars or Aphrodite and Aries, which is interesting because Mars is all about breaking apart, separation, antagonism, okay, where Venus is union, bringing together, uniting, cooperating. So Puella would be good for any kind of cooperation or partnership. It could be a romantic partnership, but it could also represent like a business partnership. We're going to, in harmony, we're going to work together. We're going to balance my interests and your interests, etc., etc. Okay. So Puella, the outer elements of the 16 figures always corresponds to its astrological attribution. So since it's Libra, obviously its outer element is air. So the outer elements do follow the astrological correspondences. The interior elements do not. So, for example, the outer elements, Puer is fire, it's Aries, and then Amicio is earth, Taurus, and then Albus is air, Gemini, and Populus is water, Cancer, and then Fortuna Major is fire, Sun, Conjunctio is earth, Virgo, and then Libra, Puella is Libra, that's air. So clearly Puella, its external element is air, and air is all about cooperation. Now the interior element is often different, has nothing to do with its zodiacal astrological attributes. Its inner element often has nothing to do with that. The inner element is water. It's the inner reflective life. So the inner element, except in Populus, because Populus is all twos, the inner element normally is one of the one dots. Again, two dots means passive, one dot means active. And again, any geomantic figure, any of the 16 geomantic figures, you have basically 4 lines. These could be looked at in 2 different ways, okay? You could look at, this is the head, and this actually fits here. This is the neckline. Here it's the titty line, but the neckline. And then this is referred to as the body line, and this is referred to as the feet line, okay? These 4 lines, quote-unquote lines, also have elemental associations. So the top line is the fire line. The second line, which here is, so the top line, which here is 1, in Puella it's 1. The top line is the fire line. You could see that fire is active. The second elemental line is the air line. We see in Puella that the air line is passive. The air line is passive. It's 2. It's passive here in Puella. The water line is 1. It's active here. And then the earth line, which is always the bottom one, is active. It's 1 here. So we have active fire, passive air, active water, active earth. The interior element is usually one of these. And it's water. It's this one here. And it's the genitals of the figure, water. Water, the reflective life, okay? So it's like reflected within us in a reflective life, like emotions. Think of water. What is water? It's receptive. It's ruled by the moon. Okay, it's receptive. It receives the things around. It's a reflected inner life. Okay. Yep. And so let's see here. All right, y'all. So that is Puella, okay? Puella, again, you can look at it as 2 breasts. It's a girl. It just represents female, okay? Puella, the female principle in geomancy. You could also see it as a mirror, like the handle, and then the mirror is like beauty and purity. You could also see it as the 2 scales on a balance. It's Libra, ruled by Venus. It has to do all with cooperation, working together, love, things like that. So yeah, that's today's thing on geomancy. So how are y'all liking this so far? I do want viewer feedback, you know. And then tomorrow tomorrow we will start reading Geomancy. So we're going to have to start going into shield charts and going into house charts, okay? We have to. Why? Because tomorrow we're going to crack open this 16th century text on geomancy. So if y'all have been enjoying the geomancy readings with me, then you're going to enjoy this, because we're going to be learning geomancy from a 16th century magic text, okay? Yeah, we're going to be studying together a 16th century text on geomancy, okay? And then also I'll give links to modern books of geomancy. I highly recommend John Michael Greer's Art of Geomancy, and also Stephen Skinner has written a wonderful book on geomancy as well. I'll give links to those as well. And again, those are monetized links if you buy through my links. Yep, that's it for today. I guess I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to crack open this Agrippa's Geomancy book, and we're going to start getting into house charts and how to read a shield chart in geomancy and all of that. So, yeah, let me take a look at the comments. Let me see. So what do y'all think about this idea? Please share your viewer feedback. What you think is really important to me, you know? Let me see. Alejandro says, yes, you really described my energy. Thank you. Well, thank you. You're awesome. Rachel says, the rise of the phoenix. Let me see here. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Fabian says, I'll do my best to be here tomorrow for the live. I'm very interested in geomancy. Well, Fabian, hopefully you do make it for the live. I think I'm going to switch. See, this is new for me. This lives is new for me, okay? I think I'm going to switch to 9 a.m. Central Time. It'll be easier for me, 9 a.m. And I'm going to update the descriptions 9 a.m. Central, because the 8 a.m. is just too restrictive. Because I wake up at 7. This is what happens. My alarm's going off at 7:05, 7:15. I'm like, well, I got a video. I'm going to do live in front of a bunch of people in 45 minutes. So I get my coffee, get a second cup of coffee, and then it's time. I think it would be better like 9, you know, give myself an extra hour to kind of prepare. And that, because I want to give good quality for y'all. So I think 9 a.m. might be, you know, I'm still experimenting, still learning as I go. So 9 a.m. Central Time. And if you don't catch me live, I think most people are not watching live. Live, I'm not getting that many people. It's like a handful of people live, which is awesome. Y'all are awesome. But most people are watching it later. So you can watch it later. Of course, it's cool to do live. The cool kids crowd does it live. Everybody wants to be in the cool kids crowd. Okay. But, yeah, it's available. So every day there will be a video, Monday through Friday, every day. And, yeah, I guess that's it for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And I will see y'all next time. Have a great day, y'all. And I'm going to add... Now I'm going to end the video. I'm going to add the links in the description and all of that. See, if you come back in like 5 minutes, all the stuff will be there. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. Let's see. All right. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Thank you. I genuinely do appreciate y'all tuning in. And have a great day, y'all.